garden of number 4 had been butchered. An attempt had been made to make it seem half decent before the winter set in. At least someone was making an effort, even if the cuttings were in a pile that would go up in seconds if someone threw a lit match to it. Flicking on latex gloves and shoe covers for now, she knocked on the door. "Hello? Police." A uniformed officer appeared in the hallway, wearing gloves too. He was tall, early 20s, with receding brown hair and a menacing demeanour. Friendly with it, she assumed, by the concern in his eyes. "D.I. Shenton," she informed him. "Can you give me an update, please?" "P.C. Shanahan, Mom. 1 IC1 female, late teens, and 1 IC1 male, approximately mid-30s, both deceased on my arrival. I was walking past when I heard screaming. There are 3 females in the kitchen. None of them were able to tell me much more than we know." That wouldn't be unusual, Allie mused. Not if they'd witnessed the murders. They would most likely be in shock, even if they'd been involved and were trying to cover their tracks. She had to think of every eventuality. The first thing to do was to split the 3 women up, talk to them separately, and under no circumstances treat them as anything other than victims for now. "Okay, PC, what's your first name?" "Callum, Mom." "Can you watch the front door, Callum? See that no one gets in or out until the team get here." "Yes, Mom." He didn't move. "I couldn't help them. They look as if they've been dead for a while." Allie motioned with her head to Frankie. "Come on, fella." Frankie manoeuvred Callum outside. "Let's set up a first point of call. Have you done one before?" Allie blew out a deep breath and went inside the house. In the kitchen, the crying had subsided, a faint murmuring taking its place. In the living room, there was nothing anyone could do for the victims. At a glance, Allie could tell that life had been extinct for a few hours. 2. Memories of the first dead body Allie found in her rookie days came flooding back to her. A man in his 70s had suffered a heart attack after some kids had been throwing things at his windows. The kids had been terrorising him for months, and, as the final straw came, he'd run out swinging a bat around and then collapsed in the garden. Allie had arrived as he was going into cardiac arrest, the kids in question sitting on the wall across the road, watching everything that had gone on. Of course, no one could be held responsible, despite witnesses coming forward to say the lads had been harassing him. It had been traumatic at the time, especially with no one being charged for his death. She looked down at her feet. Both victims were fully clothed. The woman was unfamiliar to her, but she knew the man very well. His name was Davy Lewis. He was known to be involved with one of her long-term nemesis, Kenny Webb, who oversaw the running of 6 branches of Car Wash City, rumoured to be drug fronts. The organised crime unit were hard at work gathering together the evidence needed to convict him and many others who were involved. The bodies were grey, dried blood congealed around a gash on the female's temple and the male's abdomen. Apart from the head injury, the woman seemed uninjured anywhere else. She was no more than a teenager, really. A small table had been overturned, with blood and hair on a corner of it, the contents of a full ashtray, and a lighter on the rug. Davy Lewis seemed to have a stab wound to his stomach, his white T-shirt covered in the blood that had spilled out through its tear. There was bruising around an eye, which was easy to see on his grey-tinged skin. Their blood had started to pool due to the amount of time they'd been dead. Allie took time to nosy around the room now. It was sparse, a settee and an armchair in grey Draylon that had seen better days, a flat-pack bookcase and TV stand, a few knickknacks, a photo of the deceased and another girl in a frame, a card for a recent birthday on the windowsill. The carpet was cord, threadbare in places, but it was all clean, mostly tidy, and smelled fresh, with the hint of vanilla from the plug-in air freshener. What on earth was the girl doing with Davy Lewis? Was this one of his pick-up points, and he'd come off worse for it? Had she stabbed him first, and he'd counter-attacked her, then died from his own injuries as he'd watched her do the same? Had anyone else seen what had happened at the time? Or had the women in the kitchen been the first people to stumble across the 2 bodies, like they were saying? I hate to say it,